and then I'll post it to your classroom when we're done today. So one of the schools that I worked with has the same question about, I have several tests that you want to put into Google Classroom as a test, but I don't want to have to retype everything. And that is, I get it. So one of the schools I worked with had that very same question, and we looked really, I spent quite a bit of time playing with that. And so let me see where I posted it. Okay. So it's something called G-Formit. It's the add-on. It's a Google add-on that you can use to turn your question in your quiz into a Google Doc, or into a Google, your paper into a Google quiz. So I will share this real quick, and then we'll look at the different options. And unfortunately, I can't reuse. I know you guys are like, wait, girl, you can reuse assignments. No, you can't. Not when you are in different domains. I do not ever recommend switching domains. So just so you know, it's not you, it's me. And I also made a short video on this so you can kind of see how it works, which hopefully will help you guys. All right.
So she's down here. Are you guys seeing the Q&A?
Not yet, but you will now. There it is. So if you go into your Google Classroom, there's a Q&A with Julie, and the G-Formit, I just dropped it in as material. And so that is your best option for, it's free. If you guys are at all familiar with oh, why can't I think of, oh, Flubaroo. If you've ever heard of Flubaroo, it's by the same creator of Flubaroo. One of the things that I've discovered with G-Formit is I gave you a copy of an example test. And so this is a test that I was able to get to work. And so if we go to the copy of the sample test, you can see how it came in, and everything looks pretty good. What you'll notice when you're looking at the sample test is you will end up having to do a little bit of formatting. So as far as I can tell, and they don't tell you in any of the instructions what formatting you need to use, because that would be too easy. It looks like you cannot, your return is what cues, that space right here is what cues your next question. And so you may need to do a little bit of formatting on your test itself to get it to go over correctly. But it's a lot, it is super fast. I mean, I didn't spend hardly any time futzing with this sample test as compared to copying and pasting things in. So there is help. I did give you the help for this. And then there's also a short video that shows you what I did to make it work. So hopefully that'll help as you are, and try it, because you have today, and then I'll be back tomorrow at lunch. So try it and see. Who knows? Who knows what'll happen? But that it is free. You may need approval from your district to add it on. It may need to be something that you get permission to add on. But it's by the same people who's made Flubaroo, and that's a good add-on. So hopefully that helps you guys with that question.
Julie, can you start with a PDF?
A
Word document or a Google Doc?
it needs the document itself needs to be a Google Doc. And so if you're and some of the things that I haven't played with enough. I'm thinking if you have images, I mean, if you have something like this, it's pretty simple with text, you should be fine. If you start pulling in images or things like that, I think it's going to be a little more complex, and I'm not sure that it's going to work as well. And I'm sorry. So
Sure.
if you have a Word document, you can import it as a Google Doc. That's going to be your best option. Okay.
So if you have PDFs, the best way is to turn them in. I mean, what's the fastest way to take a PDF and put it into Google Docs? You have to do a Word.
Um, that's a horrible question. I can't answer that question. No. so so the fastest way to do it is, let's see, and I was noticing in your classroom, let's see, you guys had, and I'm not sure if did you use mine or not mine, this one? Oh, this is a YouTube video. Okay. Let me share this over with you. And this is something I can reuse an assignment. Can you imagine, you guys? Um, so if you have Adobe, that's going to be the easiest. If you have the full Adobe, that's going to be the easiest.
And we don't.
And
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 that's where
most
our difficulty is coming in.
and that's where most people do come into play. So this one I made for Redfield, and so they do have Adobe, but I, Adobe isn't the end all be all either. So I guess that's the other thing. Just because you have Adobe doesn't mean that your life is better. So I think that's something else to think about. Um,
One other thing that we started to play with is we've got portable scanners,
mhm.
and on those little portable scanners, you can scan a PDF, and I think you can convert it. It'll come out as a Word document
Okay.
on the scanner. So we're going to try that too.
So we're gonna skip the Adobe stuff because it isn't going to help us. The Cami Chrome extension is one of the ones that it really essentially allows you to annotate and edit, and you can use it for free. You can open a PDF in Google Docs, and it really is going to depend on the document. And so like this document right here is a pretty, it doesn't have a ton of formatting and stuff like that. If I say open with
Am
Google
I not
Docs,
seeing? I'm not seeing your screen, so maybe because I put you full screen.
what are you seeing?
Just you.
Oh, that's nice.
Let me exit full screen. No, I still don't see.
You know, I might not be sharing my screen. I'm not sharing my screen. I'm so sorry. Sometimes. I think I stopped sharing my screen accidentally. So I'm sorry. Thanks for saying something. All right. So I'm in a PDF, and I'm going to open it with, and I'm going to say Google Docs. And this is where, depending on your formatting, this one is got a lot of, is pretty low formatting, and so it isn't too bad, but it also, it does mess it up. I would also try in Word because you can open it in Word as a PDF, and see how that goes. I was trying to think in terms of like breaking up your PDFs when you buy something from Teachers Pay Teachers and how to break up a PDF. I'm going to have, there is a free resource. I don't know what it is. So I will look for that one and I'll answer that one tomorrow.
So, Julie, the audience that you have in the room,
Mhm.
they are mainly our SPED department
Okay,
and our math department.
okay.
So I wonder at this point with these guys, if they have some specific questions they could give you that if you
Ask.
can't answer them today, you would be able to either upload information or answer tomorrow, or maybe
Yes.
you can answer them today. So
Yep.
could we maybe move in that direction just for right now?
Oh, heavens, yeah, yeah. So I would definitely try the OCR on your scanner if you are scanning stuff in. I don't know why this is not opening right now, and I just think it's just lunchtime. I'm not sure. But when you're looking at these options, what you'll find is the open in a Google Doc tends to skew it. And then the rest of these options, you're using images, which obviously doesn't help you at all. And if you want to have something that's editable text. So I will see what other PDF options I can come up with for you guys that's not Adobe, that's not the full Adobe. So other questions that you have because there were some special ed questions on here too, so you can ask away and also I can keep dropping stuff in.
Okay. So do you have any specific questions, or do you want to go to the ones that were in there from special ed? Okay, it sounds like the special ed ones you have.
They asked some really good questions. Good job, you guys. So I was not familiar with the Pearson Realize. However, that one I have to tell you, you're kind of lucky because it works with Google Classroom. And so you should be able to share with Google Classroom once you're in it. It's one of those things that I can't do anything with it because I don't have an account, but they say that they partner and everything really well. So I would definitely feel relieved at the possibilities there. Okay.
Ever asked that question in the room?
I don't know.
That's why I was just asking, what is it?
It's online. It's an online
Math for
math or social studies or reading or I'm not sure what you guys are using it for, but
Our district already has social studies, and we are piloting the math. We're hoping today or tomorrow to get that login information.
so yeah, I don't know what it just says. SAS, this is realize, and it's all of these different things, and so I don't know. It was just a question that I had, and so I looked it up, and I was like, yes, this is one I can answer. And so you don't have your math program yet. Do you know what you're piloting?
Yes, Savas envisions.
Okay.
But
So
one of the things that makes it attractive and interesting is that it should integrate with Google Classroom.
well, Savas Realize does.
Yeah.
And so I would think that Savas Envisions would also. So that's exciting.
Really exciting.
That's like super exciting. Okay. Okay, so Moby Max, I've also, I answered this question somewhere else, but I don't remember where. But Moby Max and Google Classroom does work together also. And so you can go in and connect them. So I answered that somewhere at another school. So I'll drop that in for you guys too. So the poor people that are in this class are going to say, what is going on? Okay, and so this question right here, the no current issues, it's just you need time to plan your special ed students Google Classroom and IEP goal curriculum, 6 sets of curriculum for adaptive skill student. So the question is, am I adding students to all of my Google Classrooms and sending links to students Will they be getting their own Google Classroom training? They also use Zoom. So there's a lot of questions there, and I'm happy to unpack that. Is the person who asked this question in the room?
Yes.
Cool.
Yes,
Okay. I love this question. There's so much here. So I have questions back. Are you self-contained, or are your students in classrooms and you go out to them?
Both.
Okay. So in your situation, what I would recommend is I would do two things. I would create an individual classroom for the self-contained students.
What about the fact that they're working on different skill levels?
It doesn't matter because you're going to create an individual classroom for them. So if you've got student number 1, student number 2, student number 3, you're going to have 3 different classrooms. Okay.
For 6 or 7 periods, so that's 18 different classrooms.
Potentially, but you're only going to have 1 student in each of them.
Exactly.
our concern, Julie, would be that if they're not self-contained in all of their classrooms, but they're in other classrooms, I guess we don't want to overload those students to have way too many opportunities to get into classrooms, per se, I think is what Judy's trying to say. Should she, if we have one student, let's just pick one student. If that one student is self-contained for everything, they would each have their own, or they would have a classroom for each class, right?
If they're self-contained for everything, who is their teacher?
It would be the SPED teacher.
That'd be me.
Okay, so I would have, if you have one student that's self-contained for everything, I would have one classroom for that student with 6 topics in it.
Okay.
So I wouldn't create a classroom for each class that he has or they have. I would just have it be one classroom with 6 topics. And so you can organize, like this has a ton of topics in it, but it's super easy to skim down and say, oh, okay, so you could do something with, this week at a glance, so that could be something that you keep updated, it's this week. And then as you keep scrolling down, maybe you'll, drop this week's assignments into their respective classes next week, type of thing, or however you want to organize it for that student. But if you have one student and you have them the whole time, regardless of how many classes they have, I would just make them one classroom.
Okay.
If you have a student in a regular ed classroom, I would ask the regular ed teacher to add you as a co-teacher.
Already done.
Oh, you're good. And then the next thing I would do is I would go down to my notifications down here on my settings. So hamburger menu, settings at the very, very bottom. I would scroll on down to class notifications, click on my drop down, and I would turn off the notifications for all of those classes that you're a co-teacher in, so you don't lose your mind. Okay?
Already done that.
Oh
Yeah,
my
we
gosh.
did go over that this morning.
We did. We covered that this morning.
You guys, you don't need me. So that would be my 2. So those would, and so in the regular ed classroom, I would do a couple of different things. I would ask if you could have a topic, because the student will only see topics where there are assignments under them. And so if I make a topic and I only assign it to one of you, you will see it, but nobody else will. Does that make sense? And so you should be able to make your own topic and give them their assignments, or you can integrate right in with the teacher and do whatever, you know, modifications off of what she's doing. What I'm hearing is communication is so much better because you know what's going on in the classroom now, and you don't necessarily have to take the time to talk to the teacher. I mean, you still obviously want to talk, but you know, you don't have a separate here's my lesson plans for the week type of thing. It's much more streamlined. Okay. So does that
Sounds
answer?
good. So same with the self-contained classroom, like the basic math. I can put all my students in there, but then when I assign their assignments, I have to pick them individually because it's different work for each one.
Okay. And so
There might
now
be a different.
I have a question for you on that one. So on your basic math, are they, so a lot of the special ed teachers that I've worked with, because I can't, like when I'm in Google Classroom, I can see everybody that's in this class. And so for privacy, they don't like that. You know, that's not, doesn't meet the privacy laws. And so that's where you end up if you're going to have an individual, you know, I mean, so you may end up for basic math, you may end up needing to, are the basic math students in a regular ed classroom or not?
No.
No.
So are you saying I need a separate class for each one of them too? Google Classroom for confidentiality?
For confidentiality, that is what I am seeing happen. However, I mean, before you, I mean, you're rocking this, so don't, don't go anywhere yet.
Back to my statement anytime.
You do. But one of the things that I would recommend you do is to, and so I'm going to go back to all my classes. One of the things that we've put together is we've put together a sandbox class or a demo class or a master class or whatever you want to call it. And there is a number of us that are teaching Google Classroom, and we are dropping our structure and our organization and our assignments in here so that we can we can reuse them in any other classroom that we have. And so as you are building content, I would start by putting stuff in a master class, and then all you have to do when you get back over to your Custer class or your class, um, you can just do classwork, create, and reuse post. The other thing that you can do, and so I'm just gonna pretend to reuse this one. I'm not gonna post it. But so I'm reusing this post. The other thing you can do is if you have, you know, like 2 or 3 students that are doing the same thing, you can go in and you can say, I'm gonna select it for student 1, student 2, student 3, and assign it. Because while when you pick multiple classes, you can't do individual students, but when you have individual students and you know, when you only have 1 student per class, you are doing that. Does that make sense? So so reuse a lot. Okay,
Sounds good.
are you okay?
I'm overwhelmed.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's not all because of Google Classroom. I'm a sick cat, so yeah, I'm overwhelmed.
That's horrible. Oh, I'm so sorry. There's nothing worse than a sick pet. Okay, so the other, so like the adding students to your classrooms and sending links, I guess I'm not sure when school starts.
Wednesday.
Okay, so I guess this, I would get my classes set up. But the other thing that I would do is when I'm setting up my classes, um, I would make a class. You know, so make my self-contained class and put in the topics that I want. So demo. I'm going to put in the topics that I want, all of that kind of thing. I'm going to go in and do my settings. And so if I'm going to do anything with the stream, I'm going to say, yeah, students can only comment. I'm not posting classwork on the stream. I want guardian summaries, and then my grade calculations. If I want to do any grade, if I want to do, total points or weighted by category, I can also set up my grade categories. And so if I have any grade categories that I want to set up, all of this I can set up, save it. So I can save my settings. I can, in my classwork, I can make my topics. And so I can say, today might be one that you want to use. And then you may want to have math, and then I'm not sure what topics you want, but you may want whatever topics you want. So now when you're all said and done with your class, go back to your dashboard and click on your three dots and copy that baby, rename it. And so what will come up is all of your topics will be there, all of the settings that you've done, all of your grading topics, all of that will be there. So
It's really,
Yep.
that I'm not ready for the grading, but my grading is how they're meeting their IEP goals. So it really is individual for every one of them. So doing a demo when it's not, it might be 4 out of 5 for this child, but it's 80% for this one. It's just not the same. It's all individual.
And the grading is, and that's one of those things where, I'm just saying that those are those kinds of things that you can set up across if you have that.
I'm not ready for that.
And that's fine. That's fine.
I set up all my classes over the weekend, but I did not do individual classes for each of my special ed kids. So now I have to go back and do that.
But you can just duplicate them, make a copy of them, really. And then you don't have to, if you've got your topics and everything in there, you can just duplicate them. So, but so that's kind of a fast way to, if you have to do a bunch, and in your situation, you end up doing more than some of the other teachers because of that. Okay. Will special ed related services personnel be getting Google Classroom training? I don't know what that means. So
they're not here. So.
But does that mean
That means I'm concerned that our related services of speech, OT, and PT are not taking this Google Classroom training. So I'm wondering how their services fit in.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna
at the elementary doing seesaw.
They're at the elementary doing seesaw.
They probably are. I don't know.
As we do. Let me see if I can find, because I do have resources for special ed that actually have really great examples from SPED. And so I will drop those in your resources list here too, so you have them. Let's see. But it has the speech language, which is a really nice example of speech language in the Google Classroom, but it talks about how she broke it up different ways, and so that might be good too, just to look at.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Our speech language and our OT team taught a social skills class for our special ed kids last year, and I have no idea. They did Zoom when we went to distance learning, so that was just a general question, just wondering if they're going to join us on Google Classroom.
I would encourage them, because they can be co-teachers with you. You could really focus in on your, you know, like I'm assuming you have some overlaps on students. And so I would consider inviting them to your classes, especially the ones that are relevant. And then, so the special ed students who have chosen to distance learn, being able to screen share when working with special ed services is vital. So my question for you is, will the students have a device?
Yes.
Okay. One of the questions that somebody asked, and I'm not sure where,
I mean, is screen share an option within Google Classroom like you're doing right now with Zoom?
in Google Meet, you mean?
Google Meet, sorry.
Yep, yep. Um, though this is my question that I needed to, I needed to ask you guys. So your special ed students have a device. Do they also have a, do they also have the email address, the K-12 email address?
Yeah.
Do their parents typically know the username and the password then?
I don't know.
Probably not.
Probably not.
Do the students know the username and the password?
Questionable.
Okay. Oh, I mean, I'm not. Well, so here's the thing. Let me.
Julie, here's been our debate. You know, we went from, most people used Zoom all spring
Right.
because it was made available. Our district came back and said that we would be using Teams this year.
Teams?
Teams, that was the beginning, in the beginning of this discussion.
Okay.
The core group of trainers that you worked with put out there that we would like to do Google Meets because it was right there with our Google Classroom and everything could link together. And the state was supporting it, and we could get the paid version that could get us the time and the recording and everything else, the plagiarism check, all of that. So our school agreed to that. Well, then our tech folks kind of thought, wait a minute, Google Meets doesn't have all that up and running, and it's not as secure as it should be at this time. So then they balked and said, no, we're going back to Teams. We went to bat and said, no, we want to stay with Google Meets. But the elementary kids who are doing Seesaw we're going to have to use Teams. It has now come down to the state is giving a license to all the districts for Zoom. So everybody's saying, why should we do something different if we all know how to do Zoom and now it's okay to use it? So there's been our dilemma.
Gosh, you guys, what fun.
But I think what we've landed on is that you can either use Zoom or Google Meets, either one.
I think that's true.
Here, I'll just give you a whole website. I made a website this morning because I was bored. Not really. I'm never bored. Tired, but never bored. Let me give you this. And you have everything then, okay? You have Meet, you have Teams, and you have Zoom. Okay?
Okay.
And that's brand new. I mean, I didn't have it when we talked, whatever.
So Julie, can parents be added to that? Their email address be added to it?
Okay. So here's the deal. Google Meet is not, one of the drawbacks with Google Meet is you can only have K-12, you can only use K-12 accounts in a K-12 Google Meet. And so there are settings that that they could do something wonky, but it sounds like it's really challenging and it isn't probably going to happen. And so Google Meet is going to be a little bit more challenging if you're going to have parents joining from the outside, okay?
So do IEP meetings via Zoom? That's what you're saying.
Zoom is, unless the state does something wonky with Zoom, you know, I mean, in terms of like making it unusable, Zoom is going to be by far your easiest option for setting stuff up. And I've dropped in a number of different resources and tools to kind of like your settings and things like that. To look at. I also have some successful resources for kids, but like the tools for interactivity and how to do that, but then also the tools for, you know, settings and securities and things like that. And then also just a couple of security resources. So you do have all of that, but if you use Zoom this spring, and that worked for you and you have the option, I would do it mainly just because with Google Meet and the limitation that you have to be on the K-12, I think for parents it's going to be a challenge. Okay, so you have that now. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. But that's a great question. And when I saw that, I was like, oh, this is going to be a really hard one to answer because um, I don't have a good answer. Okay, so we've got about 15 minutes or so left. So what next? So I see digital assessment, working with students online, and that's something I will give you tomorrow because over this weekend I found some really cool things, and so I will um, like teaching them how to use Google Classroom and teaching them how to use Google Slides and stuff like that. Do you guys want the most efficient way to make videos?
What do you,
So what I talked to them about this morning was Screencastify because of the integration with Google Classroom. But if you have anything else that would be good to show them, especially maybe Loom, because I know that we'd heard a lot about it. We know educators are using it.
So where I'm at in the video creating resources, okay, so I made a copy of this, so let me actually hold on. I just want to take these out and then I'll post this. So this is something I created for another district, but I'm now going to use it for real life everywhere. And so what this has in it is it has the resources for, you know, kind of what makes an effective video, but then also we can go in and look at, resources for Screencastify, Loom, Flipgrid, and then also, and I'm adding in Zoom, and I just didn't get that far, but like how people are using Zoom, and so, and then kind of moving it into HyperDocs and how we package. But so I will add this one in as an option. So let me add that to your classroom. Okay. So, okay. So if you're looking for the flipped stuff, so some of the things that I really am finding and I really am recommending is Loom is awesome because they've given us so I like Screencastify, and Screencastify, like you said, it saves into Google Classroom or Google Drive, and so it's really easy. Loom though is also super easy. It saves in the cloud, and so you don't have to do anything with it. You know, it's just there. And if you verify your education account, which is also should be super easy with your K-12 email address, you get Loom Pro, and it is just free. Okay, it's not, you don't have to do anything else to do it. Just be. And so that has been one of the really nice things that I've been appreciative of, is because I've created a Loom account, I think, everywhere at this point. Huh, look, I'm here. Look, see, I have a Loom account. Um, but so what's nice with the Loom account is I can add the app or the add-on, and I don't think I have it on here. So I can I can either download the desktop app or I can add the extension. And so it gives me a little bit more flexibility than Screencastify, because not only do I have the extension, I also have the app. And then I've also had a lot of teachers, and I find it too, I just find it a little bit easier to use Loom, and I don't know, I can't tell you why. It's just easier. So I would definitely check it out. The other thing, if you have Screencastify free, you're limited to 5 minutes. So Loom, you're not limited to 5 minutes. So you have that going on too. Okay? Does that help?
Yeah, it doesn't integrate with Google Drive at all. You just have your own cloud library at Loom, and then you would just share those links.
You do, but it's super easy to share, you know, I mean, in terms of, you know, like sending it out, you can copy your link, except I can't. You can copy your link and then just paste it into Google Classroom if you want to. One of the other things that a lot of the teachers have talked about that they really like is you have a little bit more editing control, and then this call to action. And so I can add a call to action at the end where I send the students out to a document or a website or, you know, whatever. I can do that. And so that's another thing that I've heard some really good things about, is that call to action. So it does not live in Google. I guess that is probably its biggest drawback. One of the
Document stage, if they have a call to action and the students have to answer questions or do a document, like where does that save?
Oh, okay. Well, so if I do a call to action on this video, so I will say Google form. So if now I can go back into my Google Drive and I could link to a Google form if I wanted to, and that could be a quiz that they have to answer the quiz or
But
something like that.
How would it be a link? Because if it's a quiz, it's an assignment, so it's sent out to them individually. I guess it could be a link to the quiz that's collecting email addresses.
Mm-hmm.
So you wouldn't put it as a quiz assignment in Google Classroom. You would make it forms and then share the link in your call to action.
You could do that, yes. And I will play around a little bit more and see about how else we could integrate it. I mean, because the other thing you could do is you could have it go to, you could link them to an assignment. You know, I could say, here's my Google assignment. So they've watched the video, and then I can, in my Google Classroom, I can link out to any one of my assignments. And so I could say here, I've linked to my assignment. And so now that you've watched the video, go to your Google assignment, and I have
And
to,
that will take them to their individual classroom page so that they get the assignment link that's personal to them.
except I've linked us to a material. But yes, I mean, so when I'm all said and done and I click on this, it's going to take me into, I have to be in Google Classroom, and it takes me to whatever I've linked to. And so that would be, I guess, the easiest way to do it is if I'm going to give my students something to watch, I can give them this video, and I could assign that in Google Classroom, and then it's just like a circle basically. So if I were to add, if I were to have this video in my Google Classroom, and they watch it, then when it's all said and done, I can ship them back to this assignment and say, now finish the assignment type of thing. Does that make sense? Or I could do other things with it too. I mean, if I wanted to send them out to a Flipgrid, or if I wanted to send them out to wherever I wanted to send them out to after they watched a video, we could do that. But it's just a link. So anything you can link, basically. Let's see. I'm going to delete it so I don't lose my mind on that one. Okay. So Loom. Like I said, I like the Loom interface a little bit better than the Screencastify one, because let me turn off my camera real quick. And so here, when I want to record, it gives me my little head in the lower left corner. I can click it off if I don't want it to be there. I like the controls here, but that's just me. You know, everybody's going to have different what they like, what they don't like. And so I think that is kind of your that's why I encourage people to try different things, just to see. Okay. Hello.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, so let me go back to your awesome questions. Oh, let's look at flip videos a little bit more. The other thing, did you guys do anything with Flipgrid at all?
No.
Okay.
We're
So go ahead.
Focus on, we're trying to really stay focused on Google Classroom just so we can get comfortable with that.
That's okay. Well, the only reason I'm saying Flipgrid is because if you want to bring in the videos for kids, you as an educator, the sign up is it's your Google account. You can just do educator sign up and then use your Google account. One of the things that I like about it is the Flipgrid Shorts, because you can make short videos that save here. And when I click on it, now it comes up, I can either copy the link or I can share it straight out to Google Classroom. And so it's really easy to share the shorts to Google Classroom and to share them to an assignment, or to share them that way. So I like that. You have up to 10 minutes to record. And so for me, it's more of a, if you're trying to figure out videos and all that kind of stuff, this might be a way to have you've got a way to bring in student voice, and you also have a way to make videos. Does that make sense? So that was why. And then you can also go into the discussion and have the student discussion and stuff too. But so Flipgrid is listed as a video making tool because Flipgrid Shorts lets you make videos. It stores them in the cloud. You can share them with Google Classroom. So, and you have up to 10 minutes. So that's why that's in there, and it's free. So that's that one. All right, what else? So I think your most efficient way to make videos is going to be either Loom, Screencastify, or Flipgrid. because you don't require any uploading. And I would play with each of them just to see which makes you happiest.
Is there any tips you want to give? I've got teachers who like they have to record a full. So our EMT teacher has to record a full hour's worth of lessons and post. And so I said the best thing would probably be to do a Zoom and then have a Zoom and then have his kids come in because he needs them to be in there asking questions anyway. But then just posting that recording to Google Classroom for anyone who wasn't able to make it or if they wanted to see it again.
Yeah.
Is there anything you would say differently?
I tend to use Zoom. I would record to computer, and I've got the screenshots and stuff. I just have not had a chance to upload to YouTube or Google Drive, you know, depending on where you want, and then share to Google, and then add as either material or assignment or whatever to Google Classroom. So that would be my recommendation for Zoom. And the only reason is Zoom gives you unlimited time, basically. You know, you can talk forever. While I don't recommend talking forever, it does give them those options. I would encourage them to do shorter videos so that if you wanted to embed them in like a Google Google form / quiz, you're not going to have, you're going to have like a 20-minute video or a 15-minute video rather than a hour-long video. But yeah, Zoom is going to be your unlimited time. Okay. What else?
Is there any last thing in here, guys, that for tomorrow that you would like to see or have her cover that you might not have gotten on a question?
Have you used the Cami app in math or in any other subjects to be able to annotate on papers that you give out?
Yeah.
Any advice for it? We played with it a little, but we don't know very much at all about it.
Okay. I'll bring that back tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm still breaking apart PDFs. I'm going to look for PDF options for you guys. Some ideas for like introducing it to students when we come back, just the online stuff. Anything else?
I think maybe we'll have another survey at the end of the day, Julie, and see if they are stuck with anything.
That sounds like super fun. Okay. I love it. Now that'll be great. Actually, that would be awesome if you asked them another survey, and then that helps me kind of help them. So yeah, I like that. That sounds good.
All righty.
All right. Thanks, guys.